Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are making tomato sauce. Let's go. To make this sauce, we're using fresh tomatoes, but before we can sauce them, we have to peel them. And the best way to do that is to shock them in some hot water. So set a pot of water to boil, and while it's boiling, we can prep our onion. Cut it in half from root to stem, then remove the stem end and the peel, and then slice perpendicular to the first cut, and then slice perpendicular to the second cut, and that's how you get a nice dice. And it's the exact same procedure for the second half of the onion. Once you've got all your onions chopped and all your fingers are still intact, using this fancy scraper, pour half the onions into a ramekin and half onto the kitchen counter mixed with the onion peel, and hope you can fix it in post. Now that the water is boiling, we can add our tomatoes whole into the water. Using a spider, I gently lower them into the water and then I weigh them down with the same spider. This is to prevent them from bobbing to the surface and ensuring that the skin cooks evenly. The tomatoes are only going to be in the hot water for about 2 minutes, so in that time, I'll just clean up my counter space and start prepping my garlic. After 2 minutes, the tomatoes are fully blanched. I'm going to remove them from the hot water and deposit them straight into a bowl of ice water. It is this movement from hot to cold that forces the skin to release the flesh of the tomatoes. And you can just chop off the ends and pull off the skin with ease. Once you've got all the tomatoes skinned, just give them all a coarse chop and then transfer them into a bowl for use later. I'm going to try this scraper thing again and success. To make the sauce, we're going to be using a wide non-stick pan, so we're just going to set it over medium heat with about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then we're going to get back to peeling our garlic, which was so rudely interrupted by the impatient tomatoes. Just chop each clove into half and then proceed to give it a dice, quite similar to the way we did the onions. Once the oil comes to temperature, we're going to add the onions to the pan, give them a quick stir, and then add a pinch of salt. Then we're going to cover the pan and leave the onions to cook down over medium heat and go back to chopping our garlic. Then we'll show off our incredible scraper skills, and then we'll stir the onions, being careful not to let anything stick or burn. We want the onions to be just a little more translucent, so we're going to cover them and leave them to cook down. In the meantime, we can proceed to prepping our mushrooms. All we're going to do is give them a coarse chop. And those of you who by now are no doubt fans of the scraper, here you go. Just add the mushrooms to the pan, add a little bit of olive oil, give it all a good stir, and cover and cook. Next, we're going to add about 100 ml of pre-made chicken stock. If you're wondering why they look like frozen stock cubes, then you can go check out my YouTube channel or my IGTV channel for the recipe for homemade chicken bone broth. So stir the onions, add your bone broth cubes and your chopped tomatoes, and then using a spatula, encourage them to become better acquainted. And to really give this a great flavor, we're going to stick some fresh basil straight into the pan. Once the tomatoes start to simmer, we're going to just cover the pan and let them cook down over medium heat. Cooking tomato sauce is a two-part process. In the first part, we cover the tomatoes and cook them until they are no longer raw. In the second part, we uncover the tomatoes and we stir and cook them down until the sauce is at our desired consistency. Be mindful to keep checking your tomatoes and making sure that nothing is sticking. Once the tomatoes are about halfway cooked, we're going to add in our garlic, a pinch of salt, and about a half a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. We're just going to stir everything together, cover it once again, and let it all cook down. I'm going to keep checking the pan every 3 to 5 minutes, just so I can keep an eye on things and I can be sure that nothing is sticking or burning. The sauce has been cooking for about 12 to 15 minutes, and the tomatoes are now no longer looking raw. This is a great time to taste the sauce and add some dried oregano, and if need be, a little more red wine vinegar. Just give it all a little stir, and it's also a good time to fish out that sprig of basil. And now we're in phase 2 of the tomato sauce cinematic universe, where we just stir and reduce the sauce until it's exactly how we want it. This is a very handy sauce to have lying around. It freezes really well, and you can use it to stir into your spaghetti, or pour it on top of a piece of chicken parmesan, or do what I'm going to do in the next video, which is make pizza. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the pizza video.